Today we have KK Muralidharan, production designer of Suresh. It's a bit difficult name. Sureshinteയും സുമലതയുടെയും ഹൃദയഹാരിയായ പ്രണയകഥയുടെ. And we have the production designer of that film. In fact, he has been a production designer for films from 2005 onwards, Bollywood films. But I think it's the first time he's working on a Malayalam film. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Welcome, Muralidharan.
Thank you. Yeah, so nice of you to do this. Getting production designers and those forgotten bunch of people in the background, getting them and talking to them, all that. Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Murali. In fact, I'm quite thrilled about after watching the film because it's a bit complex movie. And if you look at it in the art perspective and the kind of the way film is visually so appealing. That way, if you look at it, it's quite complex. So let me clarify one thing first. In Malayalam films, recently we have seen this about production design. Before that, it was like art design. So art direction and things like that. But is it the same, or is production design something different?
No, it's the same. I think it's just evolved over the years. I think I guess art direction is a British term and production design is a Hollywood term. I mean, originally. Now it has got a very clear demarcation because production designer is somebody who designs the stuff, and right now art director is somebody who executes the stuff. So it's like a architect and the guy who makes the thing. So just the production designer can't do much other than making drawings and briefing them. And actually, the craft of the art director is very important.
So, here in this context, Ratish himself was art director. He is an art director anyway. So, working with him, I'm quite excited about listening how that evolved. But in general, how does it start as a production design? As in, what all things will they feed in you? As in, will that be a script reading, or how does it start?
I mostly these days work in advertising films, so that has got a different approach. Whereas film is like no, yeah, it's a uh, little more involved, and it takes a little more time consuming, I guess, because you have to read the script, you have to understand the things, you have to break it down. That whole process, which is which the entire team does. Finally it will be script wise, location wise, what you need to make, what you need to dress up, what you need to shoot, where, when, and all that. That is common for everybody. Only thing is production designers and art directors have to figure out how long this will take to make, and how much it will cost, and that will be negotiations, and we will adjust things based on the requirements. That is how it's usually everywhere. And sometimes you have a storyboard and no frames and all that. Sometimes you don't have that. And Ratish's case is no, it is we had a script. It is very complex script because of it is switching between different periods and times and all that, which was a big concern. Because we had 2090s, 2013, 2024, and 1960s, all that, and the same characters go back and forth between this is also there is a separate script of a play which is also interwoven in the story, the play of Sadarama. So altogether it was complex and exciting and all that. So one day out of the blue I got a call from Ratish, because Ratish, I mean, we knew each other from and in touch from Bombay when he was a production designer and all that. Then he's moved to Kerala doing feature films, and he's a big success there. So he got a call and he's like, no, can you do this? I said, yeah, sounds exciting. And it's always nice to work with friends and people who you know than a non-devil. So that's how I got into it. And working with him, it was wonderful. And he himself is a production designer who knows the problems and everything about the profession. Helps a lot. Also, it was a wonderful team. The director, the cinematographer, and most of the art directors I got, because of the sudden job I couldn't be in the shoot all the time. So I used to send designs and brief them from here. and Ritesh himself has to back me up because he knows what it is. And these production designers, Jitu Sebastian and Mithun Chaliseri, they were brilliant. They were very good. Without them, I couldn't have helped this. And the cinematographer Sabin, he was also wonderful. So there was a tremendous support, and it was fun. And I guess the film is turned out to be fun, and people are enjoying it, watching it.
Unlike any period film where you talk about a certain period and you come back, or there could be some flashback. This is like switching between frames. It's like periods are getting switched
Yeah, yeah.
tremendously. So I was really wondering how they would have shot these things, as in periods. Anyway, you had to have the sets accordingly. Then it's like all in the edits that we had to do those things. So it's lots of calculations that went out. So how interesting was it discussing this in the script level?
Oh, we all had the same concerns, how people are going to decipher this switching back and forth between times, and so we we had an interview session with Ratish, what exactly his ideas about this and what. So that was definitely a challenging thing. But then finally, when it comes down to so design, it's like 60s, and it's like there's a specific time periods, and we'll have to go with that. So for me, it ends there. But then for him, it never ended there. Then he had to put it together, edit it, and and see whether it seamlessly work and all that. I still think it is very, very, very adventurous and very, very gutsy of him to do it and put it into even if it is Kerala audience, so who's one of the most evolved in the country, it takes guts to do that. I think he's done that, and I think he's done that successfully.
That too, talking about the film, it's not any prominent actors who are working. Of course, Rajesh and Suthish and even many of the actors who are from the theater background. They are all very good performers, but it's a high, huge risk when we are putting across in the box office as a film with a with no no star value and all. So that way, I think it's a huge risk, and also the narration, the narrative itself is like totally different from the conventional style. So that it's a huge risk, and I think it went on for more than 100 days. It's
Yeah,
somewhat
yeah.
like
It's about
a
120 days.
Bollywood. Yeah.
Yeah. So in short, what Ratish has achieved and what he was doing all this while, it was it was altogether very, very daredevil kind of thing. Industry also looked at it what is this guy shooting for 120 years, 20 days, or for all over, and there you see very, very period things and stuff like that. So I think that was amazing. He had the conviction in what he was going to do, despite all other people's concerns and worries and all that. And he pulled it off. That is hats off. Also, you can do this only in Malu films, I think, at the moment. As a mainstream film, be this experimental and be this uh, out of the beaten road. I think we can only do it in Malu films. So because we have a very, very evolved audience and technicians.
So, as compared to Bollywood, which is more lucrative, and Malayalam films are relatively much small budget, and and especially you're working in advertisement, production design, and having worked in Bollywood, which even though it also takes some 100 days of shoot, but for a Malayalam film which has relatively a lesser budget, and can we see really working on more Malayalam films?
I am somebody who's I have this condition of getting excited unnecessarily. So that lands me in trouble. Uh, so sometimes I mean, most of my work has no money, and I just do it because of it is good and excitement and all that. I mean, I do lots of work for friends who's experimental projects. I mean, whether it's branding or posters or illustrations or or designing murals, and I just jump into it and do things. I'm not actually a careerist in that sense, and I'm not really planning my career. If I do this, something will happen, that kind of thing. I just go by what excites me, and there are millions of exciting things always. I mean, it might not get you any money, but then excitement it guarantees. So Right now I'm working on lots of film posters, lots
Okay.
of branding. These are all people come and ask some theater sets, some murals somewhere, and some translations here and there, some stuff like that. So I mean, basically, you have to keep yourself alive all the time. That's more important than making money, I guess.
So talking about that, I understand the kind of art and aesthetic that people have been carrying in the early 90s. So I know we all belong to that age group
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
So how did that happen to join an ID and your early years of career?
Oh, I was doing my degree, and I was doing degree, and I did up to 2 years, and I found out no, I'm not going to go anywhere with this because in the college you are doing a lot of other nonsense magazines and this and that and a lot of fun things. And when it came to exams and all that, it was scary. That's when I thought should look for something where you can use your skills as a way of making a living. So I could draw and that kind of stuff and all that. So that's why I looked for a place and somebody suggested an idea. I applied there, got it. At that time, it was not a very known place in late 80s, 90s, and all that. Some people knew about it. So when we came out also, and it was like 90s was a different. It's a different century. It was last century. So things were very different and our it's not like very exciting place, very lots of interesting things to do. Other than that, no, you're not driven to no, it's not about planning your career and making money and this that. So whole lot of us went after things which interest you, excite you, and all that. So and I've been always interested in design as a total thing. It's not specifically graphic design or production design or this design or that design. I think design as a overall it has got a language, it's got its rules, it's got things which you can. So then me and a friend of mine started a production a studio in Bombay. So we thought we'll do everything what we want to do. That's the kind of thing. But then the world doesn't let you do that. So finally, you will have to have some kind of core capabilities, and that's what you need to market, and that's what you'll be known for. So, no, that's finally happens to be production design. That's what we are doing a lot more. And all other things you do in secret or on your own time. So, in 90s coming out of NID and in now in the 21st century second decade you're coming out of NID or any place like that, it's very different because we had no idea now what are we going to do. We are just one day bunch of guys gate open, you came out and all that and thinking the world is waiting for you, but nobody is waiting for you. So you then be walking around and finding things. And there was no pressure because education wasn't such a expensive thing at that time. No, it was fairly cheap and you could manage. Now it is not the case. Now education is a huge investment from parents and kids. Kids take loans and they need to pay back and they need to look for immediate options of regenerating the money they spent, stuff like that. So that was, and I think we were lucky to have born and uh, grew up in that time because I mean there was no chat GPT or any of those things at that time, but then there was lots of other things which is no, nobody is going to ever get ever again. And it's always exciting to watch what happens to the world.
So this is Excite Studio. So when was this set up?
This was set up in, I think, 2000. Yeah.
Here, it's predominantly advertisements and production design for
Yeah,
advertisements
but
and
then
movies.
when we had started off no with a brief saying no, we will pick up projects what interests us, we will do everything and all that. So at that time there was a lot more variety in our work. We had done museums, we had done interiors, we had done this and that and posters, graphic design, branding. We did no whatever a design studio could do. But then also no, if that was the way to go, you need to make a become a big studio with lots of people and all that. That also we didn't want to it's finally the fun of doing something is doing it yourself. Not you get another designer and brief them yeah, have a design ready by tomorrow 9 o'clock. I mean that's no fun. It's like everything is like, you have to do it yourself. That is the fun. It's like, I mean, if you feel like eating like no parota and anda curry, you should make it yourself and eat it. That's a it's a different fun to it. Some people prefer to go and like no eat in the restaurant, but sometimes I get excited and I make it myself.
That analogy speaks how you look at things. We'll come back to Suresh and Sumilata, but in between,
Yes,
how is it working in Bollywood films as compared to the recent?
we haven't worked in Bollywood films of late. I think last one was some 10 years ago or something. So things have changed, and we were not actually pursuing. We were actually not picking up any feature films from Bollywood because of lots of other issues. Because I couldn't commit to like no years at a stretch and all that. You have like no ailing people at home, so you have to go up and down, all that kind of things. And so uh, I don't know exactly how it happens, but then it's story is more or less the same everywhere. Like you have a script, you have a requirement, you have a budget, but then what differs is like something like say Hollywood or Malayalam industry or Bollywood and all that. The subject matter varies. Right now, like no in South Malayalam or Tamil and all that is a lot more adventurous with the subjects they do, the way they do and stuff like that. And Bollywood is like no still bit behind with that. I mean, they need to see it to anyway. You know how it is.
So I remember those very interesting illustrations, not illustrations, it was painted, characters that you used to post a couple of years back, with those old paragon slippers and
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay,
straps and,
yeah.
with lungi and, so it reminds me some of the characters of Bharatan films and all. How such background, as in, which has the essence of people around, work in your mind when you're doing the production design for Suresh and similar.
I don't know how that specifically helps in this thing because I know you're a Malayali doing a Malayalam film always helps because like a lot of things you don't need to explain, you don't need to be briefed about because you know, and that is the kind of thing probably like no Ratish wanted me to do this because I mean he Malayali, I mean you can call anybody, I mean there are lots of production sellers there also. I don't know what prompted him to call me because of like it's also slightly crazy spaces and all that. It's like it's not just houses. There are like no theater sets, this and all that. So he thought like no, I might, and I have the added advantage of like no being in Mallu. So I mean I grew up till and I think I left Kerala in '87 to go to NID and all that. Till then I was there. So I was and sometimes you have a serious attack of nostalgia when you see something or like then you sit and sometimes paint Mallu faces and this thing, Mallu landscapes. Then that is like a fever. Then it goes. Then you get back to life. So, uh, and whatever I do, like sometimes I put up in Instagram. I got Instagram accounts and like where I should put up all these things. That's
You are from Wayanad. Wayanad is a place where most of the North Indians used to come over. Like people from Bangalore used to come over the weekend. If you recall your days in Wayanad, what would you say?
why not? Like no, during my time, why not was not a known place at all. Why not became like no, everybody has the why not? Where is this and all that. So I had to see when I was in like no out of Kerala and all that, you would take a map and say like no, this is Kerala. Oh, that okay, Madras. Okay, once they like no, it was in that zone. Now, Wayanad is one of the best known tourist destination, and Rahul Gandhi's constituency, like no, whole lot of things. So I mean, at that time it was a nice little village and lots of forest around. People are working very hard, and like no, there was this good bunch of people who had it's a agrarian place. Lots of farmers and people came from all parts of Kerala and living together. There was like no, it was amazing. It was like a beautiful place, beautiful people, very hardworking, very cooperative, very connected. I mean, like no, when whatever happens to this country right now, like no, this when somebody is like no, first title is whether he's a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian, all that. It's like it's really. gets to you because like where you come from, none of this ever mattered. It's like you are. I mean, people like no when my parents don't come, they're like no, it was Wayanad was hard. Like no, there was no transportation. It was all forest. There was no shops and all that. Like no, people had to be really work together, stick together to achieve anything, and that is what is gone, which is sad.
I had seen a few posts that Geetanjali had posted, while she was in Wayanad, as in some pretty good observations how she looks at it. So, which was talking about that. I think, for those people who do not know, Geetanjali is Murali's partner. Who is Geetanjali is a famous filmmaker who has done The Printed Rainbow and Bombay Rose and more films to come. How was it, having a filmmaker at home? Will you be discussing films, production design, art?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whose partner is who, like, no, but then we live together, we share a flat, and like, no, and she's great company, and there's always something to discuss about films, what we've seen, or like, no, something she has seen, or like, no, discuss her script or uh, politics or art, and like, no, so that way there's never a dull moment. It's always, and sometimes you disagree on your opinions of things, or that. So that is it's wonderful. And she also loves Kerala and Wayanad.
ഏ ഭഗവതി ആദ്യം ചത്തു പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് സുരേശൻ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്.
What was the subject, or on what is the film about? How did he communicate that to you? Because the film itself is like it's a it interlays or intertwines with the life of a Malabar, anyone in Malabar in those period and this today's, it has theater, it has politics, it has it's not the kind of casteism that we are talking about these days, but it talk about that. So what was that one line, or about the film? This is a film that we are going to make. What did he say about the film, Ratish?
No, that was the same of I mean when he started, it was never said in one word. I mean you don't have to say anything in one word. He said like no, it is a spin-off from the earlier story. Nathan Kesodle, two characters. So and it is been developed into a full-fledged film, the two characters, which is exciting. And it is and he is a North Malabar. His main area is North Malabar. What he is dealing with, his stories and his language and his everything. So that is understood. And I also like was my college life was in that area, so I am pretty aware of all that. I mean, I went to the same Pioneer College for my pre-degree and stuff like that. So we were shooting there after so many years. So and I understand that language very well. And but then all that was fine. But then when the time switch happens, that when everybody got like no, a little taken aback. It's like how you going to deal with it. So either like no, he was very confident about it. So I'm like no, it works beautifully in the film for in some manner, I guess. Then actually, like no, who I mean, Radesh himself and all his actors are local people, and I had lived in that place, and his associate director Sudesh is from Kanjanga, and like no, so it was great. It was like no, for me, it was like no very nostalgic in many ways of seeing all those places once again, and it was a wonderful team to work with. So I had lots of fun. Also, I had the special privilege of not being there for the entire shoot because of like it was short notice. I had some other things to do. It was altogether very well, very went off very well.
So while being there, like he Ratish, who himself is like a art director and production designer, and you have, I mean, both of you have crafted some stuff, architect some stuff. So, mm, how was it watching the way things are developing while you were there on a few days?
The thing is, I never seen Ratish working as an art director before. I mean, that is one problem. It's like Ratish probably wouldn't see any other guy working as a director. It's like, no, we are the same profession like you. So he always worked in some other projects. I mean, we never worked together as. So I was seeing him like no in social occasions and generally we'll catch up to chat and all that. And he's always got like no at any given point he had about like no 20, 30 stories to narrate and all that. Like no he's he's always he's ready with stories. So I mean yeah, he happens to be a production designer, happened to be a production designer at that time. But then what we discussed was not about production design, it's about like no lot of other things. So seeing him direct was like no, it was nothing new because I mean for the first time I'm seeing a new director.
Okay.
He's in control of his game, and he was like no kicking ass big time and like doing it very well. And it was a huge team he was in control of, and his story apparently he's also like no his story and everything evolves as he go along. He makes changes and he like no feels, and he gets epiphanical ideas of here and there and all that. He calls and says like, no, oh, hey, that shot, no. I mean, we'll do it like that. I said, yeah, cool. Then I will send some reference. See that it works. Then becomes drawings and goes to the art directors, and it works. And I mean, he had gone somewhere in vacation and all that. There's a shot on the Taj Mahal kind of structure. Somewhere he thought like no, he was on a beach. It should look like a sand castle. He thought. So he called me and said like it should look like a sand castle. I said it will look like a sand castle in that case. Yeah. So it looked like a sand castle. That's how it is.
And those references of Gandharvan and those Gandharvan's head.
That's all. That's
Uh,
also they only figured it out. I had nothing to do with that. Costumes and like no all those things. And my brief mostly came like no, I need a area where all this can happen, and they found a location near Payyanur. So I went there and like checked out. Yeah, decided like no, and Radish advantage is like no, he completely understands all the problems, all the pros and cons of design, art direction issues. What is possible, what is not possible, what is going to. So he can completely anticipate what will happen. If it rains, what will happen. If it like no goes on, the shoot gets continuous for shoots over the deadlines, what happens. He's completely aware of all that. So that is a great advantage. Otherwise, like no, you'll have to if some directors tell you something to do and all that, you'll have to tell him like no. But the problem is that like, no, this won't happen here, this won't happen here, and later on you'll have this problem here. So that way, it's great to work with somebody who understands this because that's what he used to do at some time.
I have great respect for people working in the art. The art directors. Very seldom we get the opportunity to interact with them, but we know how they architect the whole thing. But people who work even the new boy who joins our team and the way swiftness they work on because that is how they need to work, or that is the expectation. Like suddenly the director or the team will be asking for ഒരു തുളസിത്തറ വേണം പറഞ്ഞു. So it's like so the way they do that, it's the swiftness is something that very impressive. And something that has been talking about, like art people used to come to the location the first in the morning, and they are the ones who will be last to leave the place. So can you talk about how it is
Yeah,
working?
it is art is uh, in films and uh, advertisements or wherever production design is involved. Art is very lot of hard work. A lot of hard work. I mean, they come before they set it up and they dismantle and return things, and so they are there before the other crew come, and they are there after the crew left. And it's often decided like no, the decision comes from top. It's not say like no, this is what we are going to do. This is what we are trying to achieve and all that. So sometimes you have a starts date only that much. So whatever needs to be done. So you scale up. If the work is more, you scale up, and there's nothing like no saying like no, this is not possible. In everything is possible. Given enough resources, everything is possible. So and so it's a different kind of discipline. People don't question anything. The working people, they don't question anything. If this is what the film needs, this is what we need to do. and the task is broken down from from direction department to to the last painter, carpenter, polishing guy, to little packets, so they can handle that. So I mean, I hang out with these guys a lot, these carpenters, painters, and all that, because I like that kind of work also. And they often don't know what they're doing, till the last moment, because they are only given it's more like army. You have immediate commanding officers for each department, for painters, for carpenters, for uh, civil workers, for printing, everything. Okay. And they all get their specific instructions, and they get that. And finally, when you look back when the film is ready, so this is what you've been doing. Like that. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work, but it's rewarding, I guess.
For a production designers, if there is a production designer's checklist for a film or a art ad film also, what are the things that say like colors and composition? In general, uh, if you can list down a few, what will that list be?
I mean, you name any word in any language, it is there. It's like everything is there. And it varies. There'll be cases where you'll be completely constructing a space within a studio, like palaces, trees, everything. And for that, the brief will be like, no, this is a 16th century, no, Rajasthani palace. That could be a brief. Or it could be like, no, I need an Italian street in the studio because some uh, really busy star is going, because he doesn't want to go anywhere. He wants to come and shoot there. So if it's the Italian street, the Italian streets are Italian streets. I mean, no, if you say Indian street, there's a Kerala street or Madras street or Himachal street. I mean, that's all are Indian streets. So from that street to the brief and the definition becomes sharper and sharper and higher definition. Finally, say no, it has to be a street from Punjab or a street from Chandigarh, and that to a old street from Chandigarh. So as the brief gets sharper and clearer, your requirements becomes clearer. And so and then whether it's advertising or filmmaking, there'll be all those things about what is the mood, what is the light, what is exactly going to happen there. So how is that going to reflect in the set? Is it going to be supportive of the emotions, or is going to be something else? Is it night? Is it day? Is it bleak? Is dystopian? It's fun. It's young. It's all that is there. So you name any word, it's got application there.
We'll have one more chat
Yeah.
sometime soon. I think once the film is being appreciated more. And it was so insightful listening to you. Pradeep. Thank you so much for taking out
Thank
time
you,
for this
Ashish. Thank you very
conversation.
much.